Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here in downtown Queens, New York for the official 2021 Detroit Jamaica Jazz Festival presented by the Jamaica Performing Arts Center. This is one of the first jazz festivals in the 5 boroughs that has definitely taken an initiative to start reprogramming and bringing music fans back to the fold and enjoying music during this COVID-19 pandemic. One of the headliners this year is a dynamic young vibraphonist who hails from Chicago, Illinois by the name of Joe Ross. Now, his second album from Blue Note Records has gained lots of traction on jazz radio both here and abroad. It's titled Where Are You? Now, this gentleman is really carrying out the rich tradition of jazz vibest, ranging from the great Roy Ayers to the great Milt Jackson, who's one of his heroes. In fact, tonight you're going to see highlights of him performing, and I had a chance to sit down and break bread with him later on this evening to talk about, one, his mentor, Milt Jackson, and how he has made and set the way for him to move this tradition forward, as well as talk about how Stephon Harris had to revamp as well as re-educate him on modern techniques of playing the vibe, to revamp his approach to playing his music as well as composing. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of the great Joe Ross performing live at the 2021 Downtown Jamaica Jazz Festival, presented by the Jamaica Performing Arts Center, live on the Pace Report, here in Jamaica, Queens. music world is paying attention to you. Congratulations on your second record for Blue Note Records. You know, one of the things I've noticed about this recording is that your compositions, you guys decided to stretch out a little more. Is that by choice?
A little bit. Uh, I guess a few critics felt I didn't play out enough on the first record, but also it's kind of just how the music came to be. Just playing a lot of the melodies and figuring out how to improvise around it and figuring out when we were gonna blow where. So there's a mix of a lot of stretching out and some tunes where it's just melodies and no improvisation at all.
Critics. I mean, you've been doing you. Don't pay attention to critics, man. Everybody's liking what you're doing. I mean, your band. I think Good Vibes is also something that too is adding to the dynamic of how you're trying to extend yourself moving forward in this idiom called jazz.
Yeah, we just trying to play music that is based on the background I have, based on the background we all have, and just it's it's a play on words, but really it is good vibes. Just amongst the band, amongst the music, we're just coming up with stuff and we're figuring things out and we're searching.
Now, to my understanding and the research I've done, Good Vibes came as friends out of the new school here in downtown New York.
It's a mix of the new school, a mix in general of programs that I participated in coming out of high school, going into college. Like I met the drummer Jeremy my first 2 years of college in California. Actually, I took a trip down to Houston that summer. I met the bassist Kanoa Mendenhall in California at the Next Gen competition, I believe. I met Jeremy Corin at high school in LA that he went to, Loxa. And then I met Emmanuel once I finally moved to New York. He went to Juilliard and I was going to new school, but we were all playing together and came to a session at the time. So just a mix of those programs. I met all those cats at.
You know what's really interesting? I'm moving a little forward. I'm putting the cart before the wheel. You're from Chicago, but you're Brooklyn based. But before even all of your solo debut came out, your name was all on everybody's on records. I mean, you were on James Francis record. You were on Malaya McCraven's record. You've actually have been on the scope for about 6 or 7 years.
I guess I love playing with other people. I love uh, trying to help another person bring their vision to life musically, and I learn a lot from how they operate their bands, and it informs the way that I operate mine. I learned a lot from Micaiah, when to speak up, when to not speak, how to shape and direct the music from the instrument instead of trying to give all these instructions. Playing with Marquis Hill, I really got a sense of the type of band leader I'd like to be. Another kind of hands-off approach, and let us just really explore and try things. And so all the people that I played with, Melissa Aldana even, who's playing today on her record, just I take what I can and experience being in their bands and try to let that inform what I do with mine.
You know, Joel, that's interesting you say that because you coming out of the gate, Blue Note Records, 20, 22, no, 23 years old, your debut record. That's got to be a lot of pressure coming one as a musician, but two, the rich legacy of music and artists that came, before you. You're carrying it to another level now.
It is. I don't really let pressure like that get to me because I know that I'm wholeheartedly doing my best and trying my hardest and just my heart is into the music. I'm serious about it and I'm just trying to continue based on what came before me and what I witnessed and what I saw and what I heard and what I've experienced and what I've learned from those who come before me. And I'm just trying to keep the music going.
Let's talk about your Chicago roots. You know, your brother happens to be a twin. The vibes was really kind of like the last choice, from my understanding of what you really set out to do. You knew you were going to play music, but you have like a love hate relationship with the vibe.
I've come to love it. It was definitely my brother and I. We started out on drums, and as we got older, there was a program that came, and I ended up having to play mallets. Started playing xylophone, marimba, and eventually the vibraphone. But my heart has always been with the drums, and as I got older, I started playing piano and started falling in love with harmony and theory. So the drums and the piano have become those I guess outlets to figure out things rhythmically and harmonically, and the vibraphone is where I can best express those findings, I guess. So I've definitely come to accept that the vibraphone is a lifelong partnership. You know, it's I don't like the mechanics of breaking it down and moving it between every gig, but I mean that's a part of it. You know, I accept that the vibraphone is my voice musically for what I'm trying to do improvisationally and in an ensemble setting.
Now, when you are composing and you're in the mode of writing, do you go to the piano first? Do you go to the drums, or do you go to the vibes first?
I actually rarely go to vibes. It's usually piano, but back and forth between piano and drums. Basically, if it's a rhythmic idea or if it's a harmonic idea, I like to be at the piano because it allows me to focus on both melody and harmony, get the inner workings of what that might be, and then shift it over rhythmically, and then eventually see what it feels like on the vibraphone. Because you know, on the piano, you're working with all 10 fingers, and on the vibes, I just have my two hands that I prefer to use. But once I take it to the vibes, I'm figuring out how to interpret it, how to shape it up, how to change it up, do different things with it. And so compositionally, usually start at the piano, maybe some drums. I might just sing, you know, just I get an idea and then figure out the process from there.
Conceptually, when you compose, is it freaky or does it freak you out when you conceptually put everything down on paper and good vibes is playing your music? Is it a culture shock? It's kind of like for me when I produce pieces and done with the editing and everything is done. I look back and I'm like, wow. Do you have that sense of wow when they are playing your music when
Yeah,
you're actually putting it out there for people?
I definitely do. The wow actually comes from how they won't play it at all, like how I envisioned it. And I guess even on a gig like this, I thoroughly enjoy experiencing how people experience and interpret my music, and that's where the fun is, not knowing what exactly is going to happen, but that these musicians are going to interpret it in a way that we can do it together and hopefully make some good music from it. So that's always my attitude. I just want to see what they're going to do with it.
I noticed something very, very different about how you play. I've been honored to see a lot of the great vibers. You only use two mallets versus four. Now, is that by choice, or do you feel more comfortable doing that?
It's by choice. Uh, I grew up listening to Milt Jackson, eventually Bobby Hutchinson and Lionel Hampton. That's always been where I've been coming from. Personally, I just prefer. I don't really want more than 3 notes on the vibraphone because of the frequency. You know, it's different for everybody. Uh, and I guess I just prefer to look at the vibraphone like a two mallet horn instrument almost. Because all the band leaders that I were listening to, besides like Thelonious Monk, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Cannonball Adderley, Ambrose Akinmusiri, like I like horn players who lead groups, and that's kind of what I'm modeling after.
You know, it's interesting you say that because you said Milt Jackson. Milt Jackson really kind of said less with more, and you automatically know Milt Jackson just yeah, you know. How are you developing into your style and developing? What are you doing daily, or is it something spiritual that you're doing when you're connecting with your music?
It's a mix of. It's usually a mix of things I'm listening to. I guess right now I'm leaning heavily into the blues, the sound of the blues, the sound of the church.
Is that by memory of you growing up in Chicago? Because Chicago is really electric blues.
Definitely, it's where I came from. It's how I grew up, going to church every Sunday, 18 years. So it's embedded in me, and now I'm trying to figure out ways, compositionally and improvisationally, for that to come out naturally, and that's what most of the music is today.
Chicago has a rich history of gospel, blues, and jazz and soul. I mean, it's like there's no particular sound in Chicago, but what that city has produced, just as far as the scope of everything I just mentioned, and you're part of that mix. What is it about Chicago that just it's a little different than New Orleans, it's a little different than Detroit, it's a little different than LA, and it's a little different than Philly?
It's like you said, there are all these different musical elements that are happening. I mean, you got straight ahead jazz, you got the avant garde from the AACM, you got blues, it's gospel, soul, R&B, all these different elements, and it's kind of all just happening at the same time. We'd be listening to the radio, and some soul comes on, and then we turn the channel to some more contemporary jazz, and then some contemporary R&B, and then you go to Buddy Guys, and then you hear the blues. You go to the showcase, here's some jazz. You go you go up, here's some pop. I mean, everything is everywhere, and you kind of just take it all in. And then I grew up in the church, so that's heavy in everything that I came up doing. So I feel like for Chicago musicians, all those things play into each other, and then like house music that plays a part too. It's, all these different elements just inform something that we're trying to put out, I guess.
Chicago, you were very instrumental. You were one of the first students to attend a magnet school, which kind of shifted you to the point where you knew what you wanted to do musically. Explain to my viewers what that's.
I went to the Chicago High School for the Arts, and it was the first public arts high school in Chicago. And my brother and I were some of the first students accepted, and we were part of the first graduating class. And through the school was a partnership with the Thelonious Monk Institute, now the Herbie Hancock Institute. And they sent instructors and different guest artists for us to work with and send us on trips, which basically led to me meeting like all the cats in the band and all my friends that I play with in New York, like these fellows I was playing with today. It really laid the groundwork for my networking and meeting a lot of musicians.
This is something that I definitely wanted to ask you about. I profiled Stephon Harris here on the Pace Report, and Stephon came out at a time when he brought another voice to the vibes by way of Roy Ayers and some other contemporaries. And you studied, he's a mentor to you, and he helped you see and he helped you revision how you played the vibes. Explain.
He just worked with me on different technique things, different ways to not hurt my body, to play more relaxed, to breathe. As a percussionist, we don't think about what our breath is doing, because we don't have to think about it the same as a person who plays a wind instrument does. So that sort of element of staying relaxed has helped. And then we worked on some music theory and ear training things. He has a whole different process of interpreting music and how to learn how to improvise using sort of a simplified music theory in some cases. And so we just worked on that, and he got my ears together to identify different chords, and it really informed the compositional process. So it's a mix of different things. I definitely owe him a lot.
So he pretty much you were pretty much deprogrammed after he worked with you. How long did this take?
I mean, it's still ongoing, but I did 2 years in California working with him, and then came to New York, worked with him for another year, almost two. And we stay in touch with different things about different things. We'll pop up and just talk about theory in a phone call. It's different things like that. That's an ongoing mentorship I'll always have with him.
And also two of your other mentors, Gerald Clayton and Ambrose. Those two guys too. When they have a very unique voice that they brought to this music, as well as what they're doing now is very relevant. What do those two guys mean to you musically?
Well, I met Gerald first my senior year of high school. He was the guest artist with the group, and from there he was like extremely supportive. He said, "Let me know when you get to New York." I went to school in California, rapped with him there for a little bit. He said again, "Let him know when I got to New York." And then as soon as I moved to New York, we played a duo gig at Mesro, and just from then on, he's been extremely supportive and hiring me for different things, and just we play together. Another good friend and mentor, and then Ambrose, Gerald and Ambrose were, I guess, my introduction into more contemporary music from artists creating music today. Because I grew up on like Bags Train, Miles, and Monk. Just kind of listening to that. And I guess I fell in love with Ambrose's music and the way he ran his band, and just I got to meet him and get into his thought process, and just I learned a lot from him business wise as well. Him being on Blue Note, just mentoring me in that way. I got to play with him in different capacities, and just they're just two brothers who are looking out for me, and I appreciate everything they're doing for me and for music in general.
What's your role as a band leader? What is it that you are definitely putting out to your musicians? One, to just interpret your music, but also how they carry themselves on the band stage.
I'm about having fun. I don't want the stage to feel too serious to the point where you can't enjoy what you're doing. I express like a tightness with the music, just so I want to know the music well enough that we can take it and break it down and really explore with it as a single organism. And so, to me, a part of the thing that goes into that is just playing with people you enjoy making music with, people you enjoy being around, spending time with, playing music with your friends. It feeds into the process of playing together. You get into each other's minds. You understand what the other people are going to do, and there's a closeness. It feels familial, which allows you to really create music on a special bond. So that's what I'm going for in the casting of that.
Joe, what are some of the music artists or genres you're listening to right now?
I just actually listened to the new J. Cole a couple days ago.
It's dope, isn't it?
But I put on Apple playlists and I just let random things play. I've been listening to a lot of Bach recently.
Why?
Music theory. I mean, there's that Bach's music is similar to the church, and I'm understanding the different harmonies and chordal movements that inform current gospel today. So I get a lot of that from listening to Bach. Also, just listening for the sake of ear training to understand how different things are moving. A lot of different reasons, and then I just enjoy it. I think I've learned to grow an appreciation for classical music in general. So like listening to that to be informed, and then listening to different blues artists, different R&B, and so I've been kind of what we were talking about, just jumping around to different genres, different styles of music, just to see what's going on. All of it, all of it informs me. I listened to Stevie Wonder last week. It's like it's completely random.
This last year has been mind boggling for the jazz community, if not musicians all over the world. I've seen you play a couple of dates here, Miss. What has COVID 19 done to you fundamentally as a musician and as a person? And what are you looking to do as far as making changes or improving on what you're going to do musically and even in your personal life?
I'd say the pandemic slowed me down. I was running around a lot before, doing a lot of gigs and touring, which is a good thing. But once all that shut down, I had time to like sit with myself, catch my breath, and then work on different things at home in my business that I didn't have time for before, and allowed me to just get different affairs in order. I ended up going back to school to finish my degree because one of the reasons I couldn't was because I was working so much. Well, I had the time. I was blessed to be able to finish my scholarship and be able to finish by the end of this year. And then making music, I never stopped writing. I've been fortunate enough to keep writing and creating with my girlfriend, flutist, saxophonist, woodwind player Gabrielle Garro. We've been able to make music and write and produce different videos and put forth that time that we didn't really have before. Do things as simple as finish my taxes, have time to do that. A lot of things that a lot of musicians, especially my age, don't always think about. I've been fortunate to have a family here. I got my family back in Chicago. We stay in touch. I've been able to go see them and just take it a day at a time. Been trying to just keep pushing. I try not to let the outer terrors of the virus or anything like damper my inner peace. I just try to keep pushing, keep going.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the 2021 Downtown Jamaica Jazz Festival here in downtown Queens. I'd like to personally congratulate and thank the talented Joe Ross for his times. For more information for his upcoming tour dates or to order his CD, please visit him online as well as his social media. Also, I'd like to personally congratulate and thank the staff here at the Jamaica Performing Arts Center for putting on a fantastic festival. People, please like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube and Vimeo, as well as visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.